Callum Wilson has reportedly agreed terms to join West Ham United. David Sullivan has got his way yet again. He's got his man. He's building this team in his vision. And the vision is old, broken down players who are injury prone. And we heard that he was in talks. When I first set this up, it was talks, bloody ice cream vans. And then it turned to agreed deal. It's been reported by Graham Bailey. Mate. Apparently, it's a pay-as-you-play deal. He's got a small base wage with a large appearance-based fees. So he gets a small guaranteed wage, and every time he makes an appearance, he gets a massive fee. What are we doing here, man?
I'll be honest. I don't know. It stinks to me of like Sullivan back in. When did we move into that? 10 years ago? You know, when he went out and signed Arbeloa and all of these, you know, Nordveit and all of these free signings. I don't think it's probably the worst deal as a pay-as-you-play. But in terms of like the player, I mean, how old is he?
33.
33. Okay, so 33. So you think about Fulkrug's 32, right? Probably coming up 33. Who's the other one that we're going to sign back? Antonio? He's got to be 35, coming up 36.
Yeah.
You're talking about 3 strikers in the Premier League, and you got to think that we're not going to sign another. They're like 100 plus in age, like between the 3 of them. I mean, it's madness. I think it's just wasting a place in the squad. I think it's a waste of money. How much do you get out of Callum Wilson? How much has he got left?
Yeah.
I just it stinks. It stinks of Sullivan. It does. It stinks of him.
Yeah, and do you know what? People look at it and go, "Oh, it's a pay-as-you-play, so it's risk-free." I don't like pay-as-you-plays because I think it puts the manager in a difficult, awkward position because this guy's earnings are based on the manager picking him and playing him, and that creates issues, tension, all sorts of problems. So if Graham Potter's like, well, this guy, I don't want to play him. Like, I've got other players ahead of him. And then he's sitting there going, wow, it's 3-4 weeks gone by and I'm on this minimum wage. I had no appearance fees yet. It causes issues. So I don't even think the deal is something we can celebrate and go, oh, we got him. And if it's risk-free. It's a mess. It's an absolute mess. They think they're hoping they can get like peak Callum Wilson. And we haven't seen that in a long time.
Well, what he's hoping is he can get a couple of decent seasons out of him before he starts to decline. But listen, Callum Wilson
starts to decline.
No, yeah,
what do you mean
obviously,
before he starts to decline?
I think I read that he missed something like 29 games last season, which is like when you think about pay-to-play ratio, that's atrocious. You're just wasting a squad place. As someone said there, we were trying to bring the age of the squad down. We're then, bringing it back up again. In terms of centre forwards, centre forwards are your bread and butter of scoring goals. We wasn't great at doing that last year. And once again, it is a typical Sullivan signing. I don't know what he's doing. I don't know what we're doing. We must be that broke. I mean, the minimum wage that he got. I mean, this stinks of Mido back in 2010 when he's like £1,000 a week and I'll show you and all that. When you think about the strikers that we've bought under Sullivan, I can't think of one that's worked really, apart from maybe Demba Ba. But yeah, I don't know. Strikers will always be his, I think his kryptonite, so to speak. But
when will he learn? How have you signed was it like something like over 50 strikers since you've been here or more, and they hardly have any goals? Like so many failures. How does he sit there and go, Callum Wilson, that's got to be a hit. That's got to work out. He scored no goals last season, but he'll somehow score goals at West Ham, who created hardly any chances. Like, how is this something that we're really looking at and going, yeah? And people will say, like, fair play to Callum Wilson for taking that deal and wanting to play and all that. I don't think he had many options at this level. People talk about Coventry as the alternative. It's a backward step. it's everything that is wrong with David Sullivan is this deal. If he obviously officially signs, I'll give him a chance. But we've moved so quick on this one when there's so many much bigger priorities like the midfield and like, you know, a 10, some creativity in the team, like a fucking proper striker. I just hope Callum Marshall can be the man. But we're going to have this guy in. And do you know what? A lot of fans, and I'm one of them, have never forgiven him for that touch of magic bollocks as well he did at Bournemouth when he handballed it into the back of the net. Ever since that, I've never really liked the guy.
Well, maybe that's why we're trying to sign him, because he always seems to score against us every time he plays. Maybe they just think, well, if you sign him up, it's, you know, apart from if he scores an own goal, then, you know, he can't. Exactly. But yeah, this with Sullivan and strikers, it's one of the things that he's never got right. And I think what Sullivan does, and I think you'll see this, he goes in stages. So he'll try and do something and it won't work, right? Then he'll try something else and it won't work. And then what it does, it just ends up going in a big circle. So he'll sign an old striker, it won't work, right? He probably got, in terms of strikers, probably 2 right. Andy Carroll would have been right if he hadn't have had so many injuries. Sacco, for what we paid for him to goal ratio, was good. Demba Ba, for what we paid for him to goal ratio, was good, right? But in terms of, so he's gone out and he's signed the 3 strikers, right? Didn't work. Signed the lone strikers like Zaza and what was the other geezer's name? Kaleri? Yeah, didn't work, right? Then he's gone up in price, so he signed the likes of Skamaka and Haller, which was totally against the system we was playing at the time, and that didn't work. And what he's doing, he just goes round and round in circles, and he's trying to find that magic touch. And I think me personally, I'd have rather kept Danny Ings on if that was the case. If Danny Ings would have accepted a similar sort of pay-as-you-play deal, I'd have rather kept in than Callum Wilson, because Callum Wilson, you know, as good of a forward he has been, he's always injured.
Yeah, well, this is it. I've seen people say he's an upgrade on Danny Ings. And yeah, if he can play, he's an upgrade. But like you said, Danny Ings was available. We never played him, but he was available.
I remember people saying that Jack Wilshere was an upgrade. Maybe I was guilty of it myself, but I remember people saying Jack Wilshere was an upgrade on some of the midfielders we had then. But if they don't play, they can't be an upgrade. You know, Danny Ings, for all of his, all of his faults, was available to play every week. He just wasn't.
Wilshere was supposed to be the noble upgrade, wasn't he? He was supposed to be the noble upgrade. We saw that.
Just absolute atrocious decision to sign a man who's going to take up a squad place, who's going to take up wages. You know, but the only thing I can think is that, you know, why they signed him and not, say, Ings again, is because Ings was on a lot of money. This guy's willing to take like lower wages. Do you know what I'd rather have preferred if we was going to go this route? And I wouldn't have taken him any other way. Dominic Calvert-Lewin. I'd have rather have had him. You'd get more out of him for the next couple of years than you will Callum Wilson.
Yeah, absolutely. But for me, it'd have to be the same type of deal, similar deal. Like, he's no big wages for him. But I've seen a lot of Newcastle fans saying that his legs are gone. Like, he's not the same player. Now, Callum Wilson in an interview said that, you know, like, he addressed it and he said, well, it's because he only comes on for like 10 minutes or so he can't get up to speed with the game and all of that stuff. So that's his excuse. Until he starts a few games, we're not going to know. But would you start him? And I'll get to the super chat in a second, Nick. Would you start him over Fulkrug when he's fit? Would you start him even over Callum Marshall?
I wouldn't. Wilson? No, he doesn't start over either of them.
No,
for me,
no, that's it.
You know, from what I've seen over the last sort of like year or two, no, he doesn't. You know, you got to remember he's had patches in a decent Newcastle team. You know, he doesn't play for them. I can't think of many other Premier League teams, honestly, at 33, coming up 34, who would sign him and play him regularly. I can't think of, not even the newly promoted teams. But
is it West Ham laughing stock again? Banter club again.
Retirement home, as they used to call it.
Yeah, this is it. Nick Blackman, 999 super chat. Thank you very much, Nick, mate. Appreciate you. I said it on another podcast the other day. This club needs to go down with owners like this who has zero ambition and that way he'll have no choice but to sell as he is losing money. He's a stubborn. I don't know what will get him out, but maybe just this stadium in the Championship doesn't bear thinking about. That's for damn sure. But is there, and this is the thing I put in the title, are there any positives to this? Any positives that we can find in West Ham signing Callum Wilson? He can't score against us anymore, in theory, as long as we keep him up the upper end of the pitch and not in our box. Right? That's one.
If we are very, very lucky, and I mean very lucky, and we keep him sort of relatively fit for most of the season, he comes on at sporadic times, and he's used when he's going to be most effective, and they find a niche for him. What will he get? 7 goals? If we're really, really lucky, I think he will be really doing well to get 7 goals out of him. And I don't know what the deal is in terms of like pay as you play, but is 7 goals in, say, he plays 20 games? Is that going to be worth the wages that we'd have given him? If, say, for instance, we'd have gone abroad and signed a young European striker with something to prove, I just don't. You shouldn't, as a Premier League team, an established Premier League team, be having to scrape around the bottom of the barrel unless you are very, very desperate at players that people have let go that they've not deemed worthy enough to get a new contract, and they're willing to let them go for nothing. You shouldn't. You should be looking for someone who you can establish yourself, and that's what we don't do. We don't look for players that we can build ourselves.
No.
And I don't think we ever will under this regime. I thought that under Potter we may, and if, like, truth be told, if Potter doesn't want this signing, I think it's fucking ridiculous from the owner. You know what I mean? Like, I thought these days had gone. But
this is what I said is why when that story came out that Potter didn't want to prioritise a striker, because they're trying to give him fucking Callum Wilson, and he's going, striker's not a priority. We don't really need a striker, because you don't want fucking Callum Wilson. This is the problem. And you know what? I look at it, and some people were saying to me, a guy on Twitter was saying, but it's worth a punt. I would rather take a punt. He said, go to one of these European leagues, the Hungarian league, the Norwegian league, Dutch league. I don't care. Find someone with good attributes, good profile, fit, fast, and take a punt on finding a gem. That's why we brought Carl McCauley in. So with all these data and stats and analysis to find the gems, but we're signing 33-year-old crocked Callum Wilson. I'm gutted. I tell you that I gave up my season ticket and I won't get to see him in the flesh.
I thought he would have learnt his lesson with Andy Carroll, how much he was injured, and this guy's even worse. So, I thought that's why we were stepping away from from Dominic Calvert-Lewin and things like that, because of injury records, because we had Carroll, we paid big money for him.
We signed him in his prime as well, Carroll. We signed this guy at the end of his career. Yeah,
it's right. I think it's embarrassing. It's an embarrassment on a club, to be honest with you. But as I said before, and I've said this before with Craig Dawson, I want to be proven wrong. If he can keep fit and all that, but I've got a feeling that this is going to end up becoming one of them ones that bite us in the butt, and he's going to be wasting a squad place. He's going to be stopping us from progressing and going to look for someone else, because they're going to think, oh well, we've got one now, and I just think it's a backward step.
Yeah, it is. It is big time. Like you said, I hope he proves us wrong and he becomes, like a secret weapon and he bangs in goals for fun. And I just don't see it. There's no way that, and I went across on the video the other day, I went through all of his injuries. There's no way this guy does not get injured. Hamstring, calf strain, hamstring, calf. Like, so many muscle injuries. There's no way. And he's done his ACL twice. And we think that somehow, magically, West Ham, the club with one of the worst records for injury-prone players, are going to cure him. And he's going to be fucking... And this is the other problem, innit? Will Salthouse FC. This is what it comes down to. Why is this man have such an influence in our football club? Why has he got such a big influence in this club? Why? He has such fucking bang average players half the time that we decide to sign. What is it? What is it? Just a mate's deal? Has he got pictures of Sullivan? what is it? Like, how are we always signing this guy's fucking clients to the detriment of our club, of our team, to the detriment of the managers? Managers are getting sacked because of Sullivan's ineptitude. It's mad.
Well, let's look at the bright side, Dan. If we sign him and we sign Antonio back, at least they'll be able to do the podcast live from the changing rooms.
Yeah, that'd be. Do you know what? West Ham will probably have it on their YouTube channel, wouldn't they? They'll probably. That's what they're.
Yeah, that's exactly what.
They're still trying to give Antonio the deal. Just if we want to just pick one or the other, just give Antonio the fucking contract, and we can have the little sentimentality. Last hurrah, well done, you survived. Fuck off, Wilson. That's what they should do. But if we want to do that, but the progressive thing would be no, neither. We've got Marshall, we've got Fulkrug. Maybe we'll have a backup, maybe someone that can play striker, play winger. Because I said this the other day, I do not want to see a single game where Jared Bowen is playing up top. I do not want to see it. It does not work.
I don't think we can afford to now that we've let Kudus go. But what I would say as well is that I think after the Kudus stuff and, obviously no signings for a while, I think we've got the left back in. We've got Carl Walker-Peters, which is, one that divides sort of opinion, especially with Scotty. Go and check that one out. But, I think if we'd have got in a couple of decent signings before that, and then we signed him last minute, I think people may have forgiven it. But the fact that we're doing it so early in the window, this makes me think that our transfer business is done, which is...
Oh my God! Just confirm relegation now. If that was the case,
but that's what it seems like it is. You know what I mean? Like we're wrapping up our transfer business and we're getting the last ends of it. But that's what I'm saying. If we'd have gone out, I mean, we've been linked with Douglas Luiz, we've been linked with Harvey Elliott. I think if we'd have got them, I think there would have been a more positive outlook around the team. But if you're wrapping it up with Callum fucking Wilson and a left back that we don't really need and no midfielder, I think alarm bells should start ringing. I really do.
Right back. Do you know what I mean? Back up, right back. And there's rumours that.
Sorry, Dan. Somebody even said Jamie Vardy would have been better option.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
I'd rather have Jamie. If we were going to play to his strengths, then he would be much better. At least he'd be fit. Like a striker, I don't care like how prolific a striker is. He's no good if he's not available to play. That's the issue. And then because the problem is as well, when he comes back from injury, it takes a while to get back up to speed with things. It's not like you just come back from injury and there you go. Yeah. So we are really, really in trouble. There's talks. I heard on a positive note, I saw a report, and this did come from Sean. I take everything he says with a massive pinch of salt. But he's now saying we have no money, is that we can spend 150 million because of when the Kudus money is amortized. So basically, when you spend money, the FFP gets counted in installments for that season. So if you sign a player for 50 mil, that season, you're only counting, say, the first one or two installments. When you sell a player, even though they're buying it installments, you're counting the whole money, right? Okay. So if you sell, 54 for Kudus counts as 54 right now. But if we sign, say, Diouf for, 20 or something, we paid 18, we're not counting the full amount. We're counting an installment of that, which is...
But that means, to be fair, like, if you're going to sustain that model, every year you're going to have to be selling someone to make sure you've got enough to...
Well, this is it. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
Yeah, and trying to get good fees. And this is the downside. We are shit at selling players. So I don't know if this 150 million spending, leeway we've got is true. I don't know how Sean didn't know this when he was saying we're broke and we have to sell to buy, and now he's just figured it out. I thought this was his wheelhouse. But we will see. At the moment, I'm not convinced when we're signing just fucking every free transfer going just because they're available as just backups. The midfield's a priority for me, massive. I've said it time and time again. And we're just dilly-dallying. I keep hearing we're linked to McAtee and Elliott, but there's no movement. There's no concrete. There's no bids gone in. Where's the bids? it's all just talk at the moment. So, yeah, I do worry for us at the moment. Things can change. Poor Graham Potter's been thrown under the bus. He's in a real tough position.
Yes, I think let's. I mean, listen, we're still judging it quite early, but I'm just saying, like, if this is the end of our business, then fucking God help us. But hopefully, you know, it's not, and there's a plan in place. But
yeah, that's it. All we could do is react to the signs and the evidence as it goes, and give off. And so far, it's not looking good because we're addressing everything that we don't need as a priority. Diouf, I'm really happy to have him, but we seem to be, going in the wrong direction.
Yeah. That's an old player. Why don't we for Vardy? A relegated team scored 1 in 4 and provided assist. Hardly missed a game in his career. Yeah.
He's not a Salthouse client, is he? He's not a Salthouse client. So he's ineligible. This is it. This is the problem. We will always go for the worst option if the worst option is a Salthouse client. So that shows you that everything that Sullivan does, he doesn't do it for the benefit of West Ham. He does it for the benefit of himself and his cronies. That's what he's all about. And that's why, honestly, I cannot wait till the day he's no longer owning this football club.
Yeah,
it will be. I don't care what we do after that. Just to not have him associated with us anymore will be a great day. Be a celebration.
Oh, I agree.
So yeah, but just another thing that I've seen today. That's for some more banter for this banter club that we are is this London Stadium that Sullivan decided to move us into, our new home. Our new home may be a place that we are not able to call home for a portion of the season in 2029, because the London Athletics Championship bidding for hosting rights, and it seems that it will take place in the London Stadium. Now, if it happens, then we could miss a minimum of 3 weeks of the season. In the stadium, we won't be able to play there because of the Athletics Championships. So there you go. Remember, we blew up our home of over 100 years and moved to this rented Athletics Stadium, which was our new home, to be constantly reminded it's not our home. Get out. It's Athletics time. Piss off.
Well, I'm not going to say too much about it. I'm going to look too much a bit more into this because it's all ifs, buts, and maybes. But I thought the Athletics were done in that stadium. You know what I mean? I thought they basically turned around and went, right. So what have we been doing? Have we been paying the rent so we can keep the Athletics there? Because I thought the Athletics doesn't. I think this is the whole point of it, turning it into a football stadium and giving it to West Ham permanently, was to say, look, we can't sustain the price of it. They still can't sustain the price of it. The only reason it's still up and running is because they've locked into a deal with West Ham. If it hadn't been locked into a deal with West Ham, it would have been standing there derelict. We wouldn't have even been able to have Athletics in it. So, yeah, listen, I'm going to look a little bit more into this before we start. But if that is the truth and Athletics can just move us out at any time, I think that's fucking atrocious, to be honest with you. Look, it could come at a time when we're quite lucky, and it could come at a time when it's like, in the summer. I don't know what the date is. Could come at a time when there may be an international break in there, so it won't be as bad. But even still, like, it's not good, is it?
It doesn't matter. Like, it's the principle of it. Someone said 3 weeks is nothing. I said a minimum of 3 weeks.
Look at this.
Right? What's that? We'll be a non-league team. Yeah. Well, listen.
Yeah, it's enough years too.
The way we're going, yeah. Like, but that's it for me. It's the principle of it. It's the idea that we're constantly told our home. This is our home now. Forget Upton Park. This is our home. And then every action that the LLDCC take or whatever, and West Ham show that it's not our home. Constantly. Yeah. Like, every time there's an event, let's take down all the West Ham logos and badges and all of that stuff. Why are you doing that? Because they're playing in our home, right? And now we have to vacate whenever something else is going on. We're not allowed to hardly ever play on Boxing Day because of the bloody Westfield Shopping Centre. There's so many things that just hit home. You are just tenants in someone else's home.
Yeah,
That's what we are.
they try and sort of drive it home that it's, you know, it is ours and all this sort of thing. But every now and then there's something that kicks you up the bollocks and just reminds you, you know, we're not in charge here. You know, we are literally the tenants. And every now and then, you know, there's going to be something there. And I don't know. Yeah, to be fair, you know, things like the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, when they have like things like Beyonce there and all that sort of thing. I think if they start making loads and loads of money, I think you'll see this, you know, like,
yeah, but they're not going to get like told they can't play a game at home because Beyonce's on, are they? This is
they
the
might
problem.
try and ask if they can have a 2-3 week period. You know what I mean? Like, they won't get told because it's at the end of the day. It's money, so.
Remember, we had a boxing event at Upton Park, right? I don't think there's anything wrong with having events in your stadium, but it's they know you're coming into your home. We're having a, you know, they call it the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. When they have the boxing there, the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, they don't see it as they're coming to West Ham's home. They see it as they're coming to the Olympic Stadium. That's how they view it. They don't view it as, oh, we're in West. When they did the boxing at Upton Park, it was so felt West Ham. It was treated like, yeah, we're in Upton Park, West Ham's home. Now it's not. It's just a neutral ground. And that's part of the reason I wanted to give up my season. I didn't want to go anymore because it's not, it don't feel like our home. It just feels like a neutral ground. And why am I paying for that? It's a piss take, mate. So we'll see. We'll see if we win the bid. I hope we don't win the bid. I think athletics, I think it's, you know, a fine sport to do and all of that. There's no audience in it. There's no money in it unless it's the Olympics or the European Championships, maybe to a degree the World Champ. But people aren't filling up that stadium to go and watch athletics. No way. Like,
no,
that's
why right, mate. They barely fucking done it in the Olympics, did they? So let's be fair. So there we go.
Yeah, exactly. Well, bloody hell. Well, we'll keep up to date on this. We'll be here if it officially happens and they get Wilson in, and we'll talk about the other deals. Go check out on my other channel. I did a video with Matisse about what rejects from Chelsea we could get at West Ham. We just need to shop in any bargain bin at the moment. Dumpster diving. Who you got here? Sterling.
Yeah,
but Dewsbury Hall, though, I think would suit us. And it seems Potter likes him, but Potter doesn't get what he wants. Shut up, Potter. Don't you start worrying about what players we're getting. Sullivan's the expert. You want Dewsbury Hall? No, sirree, mate. You want to take some 35-year-old fucking injury prone on a free and you shut your mouth. That's how it works at West Ham this season. So listen, let us know what you think. Is anyone positive about Wilson? Don't be shy. It's okay.
Leave it in the comment section down below.
Leave it in the comments. So listen, thank you all so much for watching, and we'll be back tomorrow for some more videos. One thing left to say, come on, you Irons.
Come on, you Irons.